Hello and welcome to or back to my channel. I'm Kit, your friendly feminist cat lady spinster, and today we're going to make women great again. It's true, we've been slacking for far too long. Thankfully, however, we have a group of men and a handful of women who are going to tell us exactly what makes women great. So if you think Make Women Great Again sounds familiar, you're correct. They're ripping off Trump and his Make America Great Again, as well as his red hats. And this is also the second year this event has been held. Unfortunately, we just missed it this year. The event was held October 21st or 24th in Orlando, Florida. What is it with Florida? Per the website, this event is only for biological women. However, the same rule doesn't apply for the speakers. Women can't teach women anything, even how to be a great woman. Now, why are men teaching women how to be great? Well, women today are being taught to act more like men. So logically, men are going to teach women how to act womanly. And where has that led us? Skyrocketing rates of broken families, a documented decline in female happiness since the 1970s, endless social and dating dysfunction, and America at the #1 spot in the world for single motherhood. No longer will you have to give in to toxic bullying feminist dogma, that's a mouthful, and go against your ancient biological nature as a woman. Great men and women have arrived to help. Hashtag MWGA. Join us at the second annual 22 convention to witness firsthand the epic and infamous Make Women Great Again experience, a total makeover for the feminine soul within. Doesn't that sound great? I personally can think of nothing better than paying a cool $1,000 to spend 4 days having people tell me how I'm the cause of all that ails our world. Now, let's take a quick look at the speakers before jumping into what exactly will make women great again. Anthony Johnson is the self-declared president of the Manosphere. He founded the 21 convention in 2007 or so. He's divorced and has given a talk about how his ex-wife is a psychopath. Michael Foster is a pastor in Ohio. He's married with 7 kids. He created the It's Good to Be a Man podcast, and between that and his blog, you have such gems as The Inevitability of Patriarchy, How Feminism Destroyed American Women, The War on Men, a primer on how influential women in white knights destroy the church, The Real Reason Men Don't Ask Women for Directions, and a 3-part primer on how to lead your wife. He also says inane things like, women can't be oppressed because people have loved their mothers throughout history. He also says he prefers to read radical feminists because they're honest, as opposed to Christian feminists who are liars. Alexander J.A. Cortez has a degree in performance choreography, but a hamstring tendon rupture derailed his plan to become a professional dancer. And a few months after that, he was sentenced to 3 months in jail for grand theft. He is now a fitness trainer and is probably most known for his 2019 tweet about how women can be beautiful. For some reason, it seems he's deleted it, but the internet is forever. How to be a beautiful woman. Be thin. Be able to cook. Have long hair. Wear makeup. Be feminine. Be graceful. Be sensual. Shave, should without saying. Be fashionable. Wear pink and feminine colors. Love men. Listen to men. Stay classy, ladies. Jay Vincent is another personal trainer, and a sentence from an interview with Informed Fitness caught my attention. So, genetically, the way your body looks is determined by what your parents gave you. Excuse me, Jay, you're here to make women fit and thin? No excuses. But in all seriousness, I'm glad to hear someone acknowledge that not everyone is going to embody what we think thin and fit looks like, no matter how much they train and diet. Will Spencer created the website The Renaissance of Men, and though I won't go into it, it looks much like what I originally thought MGTOW was about. I had high hopes for Will, but he did an interview with Brendan Smith, the owner of Masculine Revival, and, well, really, I don't think anyone with a healthy respect for women will be speaking at this conference anyway. Greg Adams is a former basketball coach and currently a lifestyle coach. He has a podcast called Free Agent Lifestyle and a YouTube channel. A few of his video titles: Marriage is Bondage for Men, Why Women Are Deceptive, Never Move In with a Woman, She's Never Single, Why You're Never the Only One, and my favorite, Divorce. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Interesting choice for this conference. Noah Ravoy lives in Portugal, is married with 3 sons, and will teach you agency, though per his Twitter bio, only male agency can save the West. He created the website Restoring Our Ancestral Relationship Wisdom, say that 5 times fast, and from the site smv4k.com, does that stand for Sexual Market Value 4K Selected Individuals? Is an exclusive, private community for K-selected individuals to find advice and support to help them raise their sexual market value and find their ideal spouse. I would like to note that K-selected people appears multiple times on this page, but all human beings are K-selected. However, he also says this is for rational red pill people, so I'm thinking he's banking on making people feel special. His other claim to fame seems to be the Restore Patriarchy hashtag, which features these tweets. Feminists want women weak, fat, ugly, barren, slutty, broken, manipulated, alone, afraid. The patriarchs want women healthy, beautiful, pregnant, chaste, happy, protected, secure. No wonder they hate the patriarchy so much. I just want to say that, do these people ever read what they write? Because putting pregnant and chaste on the same list I have questions. Women need the boundaries of the patriarchy and a mission in life, which is usually a husband, children, and home. Absent such structure, they malfunction and destroy civilizations. Every man is we should be doubling down, stoking these ridiculous fears and suggesting that they would be safer if we kept young, attractive women off the streets, in the kitchen, safest room in the house, pregnant and barefoot. They fear our masculinity. They fear the boundaries that we men will impose on their parasitism and rampant undermining of our commons. They fear our fatherly nature, which protects our women and children from their predation. Remain the men they fear. They always seem so benign on the surface, and then you look at their social media and it's just... Socrates is an architect, author, and founder of Manning Up Smart. He's married with at least one child who was born when he was 48. Socrates isn't shy about telling us that his main problem with the red pill is that it cuts a man off from his legacy. Socrates is a firm believer in legacy. You need to marry and have kids. And don't wait too long, because if you're too old, your legacy, aka kids, will suffer from the quality of your sperm. And if you think you can be 60 and get with a, and I quote, fresh egg box, nature will say no. He also says that if you cut a man off from his legacy, you might as well kill him. Ken Curry lives in Colorado, and he created the Solid Man Process and the Solid Brotherhood. He also seems to be a licensed counselor who doesn't use social media much, which is a relief. Janice Fiamengo was a professor of English at the University of Ottawa. She retired in 2019. She co-founded the website Regarding Men, and, well, here are some video titles. Cosby's Free, and We Like It. Stingy Men, The Death of Captain Save-A-Ho. When the Womb is the Least Safe Place for a Baby. Here's a description. Pregnant women who smoke, drink, and take drugs do demonstrable harm to their babies, yet our society refuses to hold them accountable for their actions. Paul, Tom, and Janice weigh in. I was a little tempted to watch that video because I'm very curious as to what their solution is for that. Varieties of fraud and the media's narrative. The Marxist feminist roots of Black Lives Matter. Suzanne Venker is the niece of Phyllis Schlafly because of course she is. She's a Midwesterner and is married with 2 adult kids. She's written 5 books, The 2-Income Trap, Why Parents Are Choosing to Stay Home, and real quick from the book, for decades, feminists have belabored the idea that work should be at the center of women's lives. No. Work-life balance is important. No feminist thinks women, or anyone, should be working to the detriment of everything that makes life worthwhile. And yes, some work can be fulfilling, but let's be honest, most work isn't. Anyway, her books, The War on Men, The Alpha Female's Guide to Men in Marriage, How Love Works, Women Who Win at Love, How to Build a Relationship That Lasts, and most recently, How to Get Hitched and Stay Hitched, a 12-step program for marriage-minded women. Melissa Isaac served in the U.S. Army and is currently a men's rights lawyer. She has 3 degrees and is married with a son. Given that women being stay-at-home wives and mothers is pushed in these circles, I would love to ask her opinion about alimony. Jennifer Molsky is currently 43. She's married with a stepdaughter. She's the founder of IamWaitress.com, a now-defunct website about restaurant service. I'm really not sure why she's here, unless perhaps it's her penchant for posting tweets such as these. Flashback. Last year, my husband gave our 7-year-old daughter a simple task to do, and she responded to him with a huge snotty attitude. Without thinking, I said, "Don't you ever speak to a man like that, let alone your father." I knew at that moment what kind of woman I had become. If you feel you need to scold a man, don't. Walk away. Don't engage. Feminism has removed an underappreciated chivalry and is teaching equality. We're reaching a time when men will start treating women equal. It's only men's civility that keeps women's mouths free to sass. God, husband, children, community, you. In that order. Garden is in there too, I just don't know where. I just made my husband a sandwich. I was happy to do it. I smiled when I gave it to him. Now go make your husband a sandwich. Now, for one final word from the speakers.
I grew up in this community and proudly call it my tribe and my home. And after building more live events at the highest level of quality and scale our community has ever seen, I'm declaring myself president of the Manosphere effective immediately.
Patriarchal. Patriarchy is inevitable. You'll never escape it.
At the end, I even took a really good photo of myself. I'm like, if you really want to hate fuck me really badly, here's one final picture for you to get wet over.
What women are looking for is a strong, emotionally centered, masculine man.
This state that we've been in for the past 100 years, 140 years or so, in which men have been disempowered and women have been I would say, falsely empowered.
Hey, brothers, I know you guys are going through some difficult time with these modern women. They're out of their mind a little bit, when it comes to their expectations and their standards. It's a little lopsided, and they're not negotiating in good faith with you. But if you're having trouble with them, don't go to marriage counseling. Don't go to relationship counseling. Don't try to work it out. If she's acting like she doesn't understand, it's time to DTB. Dump that broad.
A lot of women who are feminists, they were abused either directly or by neglect. They didn't have a good man in their life growing up, and they have resentment towards men.
What has feminism done for you today? Show me honest results that feminism owned, created, and developed on its own that's benefiting you in a significant, meaningful way. Then honestly compare that to alternative systems.
And the key is underneath the mother's pillow. The pillow represents, it's a metaphor for women's sexuality.
Feminism posits that the experience of being a woman or a minority in North American society is an experience of having your very existence in some way under threat, feeling that your central elements of your identity are subjugated and denied and scorned. And I never had that experience. From day one, I had many male and female mentors who encouraged me to use my gifts in whatever way was best for me. So I always knew that my experience was not an experience of being terrorized in any way or of having my central self questioned or denied.
A man's desire to provide is crucial to his identity. And when women don't understand that and try to reverse it and become the protector and the providers of the family, pretty much all hell breaks loose, because you're setting up a relationship dynamic where the man is more your son than your hero.
Wow.
Right?
Oh, sorry, I cut you off here. Let me. Okay. So you create a dynamic where the husband becomes more your son as opposed to the hero. Wow, that's so good, Suzanne. Okay, keep going, sorry.
Yeah, well, who wants to have sex with their son or their mother, right? That's not how it's supposed to work. So the more you allow yourself to be cared for and protected and provided by a man, the more that sexual relationship is going to flourish.
I think that toxic men that I've seen were raised by single mothers because they don't know how to be men. My husband and I are raising a little boy. He's 5 years old, and I'm raising him to be a man. To be a man.
How dare you? You're radical.
I know. So my latest thing, I'm so proud. He's the youngest 5-year-old to ever get a yellow belt in karate, and because it's okay to be a man. And I want to raise a man. I don't want to raise. I'm not raising a little girl. I'm not raising a man that has to worry about his role in society. He will know. A good man knows what his role in society should be. The problem is we don't have men raising men. Yeah. We have, again, single moms raising men, or we have men who bought the feminist lie, and they're raising deferential citizens.
The role of women, be the home. You're not meant to leave the home and try to make money for the home. Now, I understand we're in a weird world because sometimes you need 2 incomes, but I also think if you really want to be a stay-at-home mother, you can have a conversation with your husband and say, listen, this is a goal and this is why I want to do it. And then I bet he will get on board and say, okay, I can't do it now. I can do it in a year. I can do it in 2 years. Like, that is a noble pursuit.
So now that we've learned a bit about the speakers, let's have a look at what they think will make women great. So to be great, a woman must be a virgin, be thin, be pregnant, be a wife, be fit. As a bonus, they also promise to boost your femininity by 700% and make love great again. They'll even teach you about the secret motherhood last agenda. Let's just go through these point by point. Hiding under a mask of fake progress, feminism today has become a radical assault on all forms of positive, common sense femininity. The one hard-coded into your DNA. Through an onslaught of anti-feminine propaganda spanning generations, women today have been aggressively pushed to act like men and deny their own feminine nature. The consequences have been disastrous. Millions of women are left wondering why they feel unhappy, confused, frustrated, and hopeless. At the 22 convention, we value femininity over feminism. You will learn the truth that unhealthy, bitter, and extreme feminists have been hiding from you your entire life in their war on men, boys, fathers, feminine women, and the nuclear family itself. So my first thought is that women could be virgins if men refuse sex with them. And second thought, what does any of this have to do with virginity? Anyway, if positive, common sense femininity is hard-coded into the DNA, then how are women swayed from it? Why are there channels teaching women how to be more feminine? Why is virginity feminine? What does it mean to act like a man? Why are men the judge of what's feminine? What exactly defines a feminine woman anyway? If a woman feels feminine but a man disagrees, does that mean she's not feminine? What is their source for these millions of women? Do they really think if women just waited for marriage to have sex, they would spend their lives perfectly content and would never feel a negative emotion? Are they aware you can be married with kids and be a feminist? Are they aware you can be unmarried without kids and not be a feminist? Are they aware you can be traditionally feminine and be a feminist? So their source is a study from the Institute of Family Studies asking if sexual history affects marital happiness. Considering that a lot of red pill rhetoric is that 20-something women are being ran through by chads and jumping on the carousel, I find it interesting that they link to a study that states, also, most Americans have less exciting sexual histories than the media would lead us to believe. The median American woman born in the 1980s has had 3 sex partners in her lifetime. The median man has had 6 partners, but only 4 if he's a 4-year college graduate. It's kind of ruining their own narrative there, but I guess we probably weren't supposed to actually read the study. And speaking of the study, I'm not seeing an alarming variation, though I am curious about what's up with women who've been with 6 to 10 partners. And also, this is people who are very happy in their marriage, not just happy or content. And I do think it would be more to the point if we measured contentment, since happiness isn't a constant. And finally, from the study itself, first, data on sexual partners is likely prone to errors of boastfulness, shame, and memory. Consider, for instance, the married respondents claiming 0 lifetime sex partners. Second, data on sex partners and marital happiness are measured at the same point in time. It's reasonable to assume that the partners preceded the marriage in most cases, but in a few instances, they represent adulterous trysts or polyamorous unions. Adultery is both a cause and a consequence of a deteriorating marriage. Third, a measure of marital happiness with 2 or 3 categories is obviously a blunt psychometric instrument. As I suggested earlier in discussing the relationship between marital happiness and divorce, a lot more factors into whether a marriage is good. For instance, one study found that people from divorced families of origin had marriages that were just as happy as unions between people from intact families, yet the former were more likely to think their marriage was in trouble. A person's sexual history might affect marital happiness in ways that are similarly more complex than can be captured with a single variable. Finally, there are obvious reasons to expect sample selection bias to affect the results. People who are promiscuous before marriage sometimes don't stop once they tie the knot, and adultery leads to unhappy marriages and divorce. So the people most at risk of being in unhappy marriages by virtue of their complicated sexual histories may no longer be represented in the sample of people reporting on the happiness of their marriage. This bias would minimize the effects of premarital promiscuity on marital quality. And they got the poofy tail. Over 80 million women in America today are overweight or obese. These epidemic level numbers are no secret in spite of endless hyperfit Photoshop pictures of Instagram celebrities at skeleton body fat levels. Nevertheless, being sick and obese, a recognized disease in modern medicine, is not and will never be beautiful. Taking good self-care of your body is beautiful in process and outcome. Great men admire healthy, fit women. They are, after all, sizing you up for reproduction, and your decisions will be passed on to your children through the choices you make via epigenetics. At the 22 convention, you'll learn how women have been lied to about body positivity and how you can embrace #beauty positivity right away. Per their source, 35 million women are obese and 45 million women are overweight. Also per their source, 35 million men are obese and 54 million men are overweight. But there's not a mention of that on the 21 convention page. I don't recall a nutritionist being on our list of speakers, so I'm assuming the fitness coaches will be speaking about this. And I also don't recall any of the fitness coaches mention anything about nutrition. I'm very curious as to why they have both thin and fit on here. I'll give them fit, but why thin? You can be healthy without being thin. Sometimes, unless you starve yourself, you can't be thin. And as one of their own speakers said, it has to do with genetics. And on that note, women's health is in crisis today. Mainstream advice is fundamentally broken, low-quality garbage, and our speakers have the best answers for getting healthy, fit, strong, and staying that way for the rest of your life with level-headed, sustainable effort. For yourself, for the man you love, and for your current and future children who will depend on you to be truly great. You'll learn how to be fit for life through daily choices, not some extreme program or insane effort level that's impossible to sustain. How lucky they have some fitness coaches here, more than happy to sell women their fitness programs. I'm also still wondering why thin and fit are 2 separate things. Is one meant to be nutrition and the other exercise? I think they could have combined them. And since none of the speakers listed mention anything about nutrition, I think it would be better to get advice from your doctor. For decades, feminism has derided women who want to prioritize motherhood and family, shamed them, mocked them, ridiculed them as servants of some mysterious ghost of patriarchy. These clever manipulations were designed to weed you out of the gene pool and forever prevent you from embracing the sacred responsibility, honor, and adventure of motherhood, a journey your half of the human race is uniquely equipped for. Our speakers will teach you the skills to get wifed up, knocked up, and have as many babies as your heart desires for the time of fertility you have left, and how to bounce back to amazing health and wellness without extreme diets or exercise. The clock is ticking and your babies are soon to be kicking. But none of these speakers are experts in anything. I mean, like the one guy's a counselor, and 2 of them are fitness professionals, fitness trainers. But, well, I'm kind of wondering now if they don't consider feminists women, since instead of falling into the femininity, marriage, motherhood that's hard-coded in our DNA, we're making our own choices and forging our own life paths. How many of your friends are stuck in the notorious friends with benefits zone, endlessly riding a roller coaster of heartbreak, betrayal, and despair? Many women say they want to get married, but how many truly want to become the best wives ever for their husbands and themselves? Learn the secrets of becoming the ultimate wife material in today's hyper-competitive, but I thought people didn't want to get married anymore. Okay. Dystopian sexual marketplace of Photoshop, camera angles, and cheap sugar baby sexuality. Learn the truth about what men truly want: relationship maintenance, conflict resolution, trust, submission, dominance, and functional, healthy relationships that amplify your own femininity. So to answer the question, none. And also, what is sugar baby sexuality? And as for submission and dominance, the only time submission and dominance needs to be talked about is if you're interested in a BDSM relationship, and I doubt that's what they mean. But of course, women can only be truly, freely feminine when submitting to a man. For the past several 100,000 years of human life on this planet, healthy masculine men have preferred feminine women in all areas of life, from the kitchen to the bedroom, dating to relationships, marriage, family, and beyond. High-quality masculine men want high-quality feminine women to mother their children and set great examples for their sons and daughters. Our speakers will teach you what men and women of prior generations failed to teach you as a direct result of feminist meddling and sabotage. These are the relationship and life talks radical feminists do not want you to hear. So I would imagine healthy masculine men preferred women who could help make sure they didn't all die from starvation or some predator. But as I mentioned before, really, I don't know why they bother to separate this term from making women wives. Women, in their opinion, can only be truly feminine when in submission. This is not a new idea. There are religious folk who believe in it, and of course the trads, who I think this convention is for. And I think feminine women, in this case, is code for submissive women, which is code for let him do whatever he wants. If you object, you are nagging. Where did romantic love go? Seems to have died right along with the mysterious big bad patriarchy. The story gets worse, though. At warp speed, the saying, "Where did all the good men go?" suddenly became, "Where did all the men go?" Believe us, men are saying the same thing in reverse today. The truth is that both common sense, masculinity, and femininity have been under relentless attack for decades. Both have taken catastrophic social, cultural, and philosophic damage for entire generations of people. The result is a depolarized mess where men act like women act like men, everyone's confused, and everything sucks. At the 22 convention, you'll learn about the drivers behind this bizarre and stupid social experiment, what you can do to heal the damage and pain it's caused you, and how to find awesome men and build healthy relationships. So are they trying to say the patriarchy created romance? Yes. Back in the good old days when men could beat women because women were their property. So romantic. So who was asking where the men went? I'm pretty sure that most people know as they age, their dating pool becomes smaller as people pair off every year. And I'm also pretty sure that most people don't want just any partner, they still want a good fit. And also, so just because a man paints his nails or a woman buzzes her hair into a mohawk doesn't mean they're confused. I guess if you believe in rigid gender binaries, that could confuse you, but that just means you're confused and that you lack the imagination and empathy to understand that people are different from you. I would also love to know how someone else's choices for themselves causes damage and pain to a stranger. Random thought. If they spoke about the secret motherhood last agenda last year, how is it still secret this year? America is officially the #1 country on the planet for unwed single motherhood, after a dramatic rise in recent decades. Single parenthood of any kind is just another way of saying broken family. Statistics conclusively show this is absolutely devastating for children as well as mothers. Poverty, crime, mental health issues, and overall decline in well-being is rampant today in America and the West in this context, thanks to feminist motherhood last, career first propaganda. Generations of women have been lied to with "you can have it all," a clever way of tricking them into putting motherhood last until 90% of their eggs are dead by 30. This has led millions of women down a path of endless heartbreak, dead-end relationships, and left children at significantly heightened risk of birth defects via geriatric pregnancies. Today, we are witnessing the slow-motion collapse of intentional motherhood and intact family formation. I find it interesting. It's always devastating for children and mothers. The fathers just don't care. So I have no doubt that it's better for kids to be raised with two parents, whether it's man and woman, woman and woman, or man and man. But if they believe motherhood is natural for women, what do they propose women who've never found the right man do when, as they just said, the clock is ticking? Just not have kids? Also, affordable childcare and higher wages would do a great deal to help with the poverty associated with being a single parent. And as for geriatric pregnancies, are they saying women shouldn't have kids after 35? Women can still get pregnant at that point, so would they recommend women over 35 go on birth control? Of course, for the pill at least, risk of blood clots rise at 35 too, so I'm a little surprised they don't link to that 90% of your eggs are dead by 30 study. But I suppose the point was to scare. So first, I'd like to share this paragraph from bionews.uk. However, the used data is cross-sectional, meaning that there is no longitudinal data available. This is due to the absence of non-invasive testing to count the eggs in the individual women. Professor Rob Norman, South Australian fertility expert and director of Adelaide University's Robinson Institute, questioned the accuracy of the method used in the study. Although surprised about the sharp drop-off in the number of eggs, he doubts the predictability of the mathematical model used for the calculations. And an article from Discover magazine, Hyperbole anyone? The piece reports that according to a study out of the University of St. Andrews and Edinburgh University, women have lost 90% of their eggs by the time they are 30 years old. But wait just 1 second. Yes, it's true that fertility drops significantly between 21 and 35, but it's more complicated than the topical claim suggests, and furthermore, there's a lot more to the story. So before women nearing the big 3-0, like me and younger, rush off to get preggers, let's examine the claim a bit. Baby girls are born with 1 to 2 million follicles, immature eggs, but the majority die off early. By the time we reach puberty, we have, on average, about 400,000. From then on, we shed 1 developed egg, along with about 1,000 follicles every time we ovulate. So in the end, about 400 such follicles never reach maturity. While the study tries to quantify the number shed over time, it bothers me the way the story seems to overstate a sense that women are somehow running out. There are so many layers of this issue, it would be impossible to list all of them in a blog post, so I think what's most important for everyone to remember is relatively simple. To actually make a baby, it takes just 1. And in my personal opinion, 325 seems like a really small sample size. And for the record, if you buy into the you can have it all, throw it away. You don't have to do it all to deserve what you want. So my takeaway from this convention is that women should be focused on men, wanting a man, pleasing a man, doing anything to get and then keep a man, bearing in mind that they alone are nothing and really should consider themselves lucky if a man thinks they're worthy enough to wife up, because we all know the inherent nature of women makes them unworthy of a man. And if married, she should count her blessings every day for being chosen to bear his legacy. I've seen enough in the comments to know they don't want someone with their own life or personality. They want a blank slate to mold to their liking. A woman is focused only on her husband and kids and asks for nothing for herself. And that is also why the champion marrying young. They know the older a woman is, the less likely she's going to be willing to give herself up to serve someone else. I think the overall gist is that women are to stay home and care for the family, and feminism is the reason women left the home in the first place, and that's why women are unhappy, because now we're out in the world earning money and that's not our place. And also, men are unhappy because if women are earning money, that gives men no purpose. And of course, single mothers cause poverty, obesity, crime, and everything else wrong in the world. I really don't think a woman would gain much useful information from this conference. I've heard of the male gaze, but this is taking things to an extreme. Everything women are being taught at this conference isn't for their benefit. It's to make them the kind of woman these particular men want. And these particular men are only concerned about service level things. What about mutual respect? What about compassion, empathy, and kindness? What about healthy communication? But hey, if you get a wife who submits to you or a husband who provides for your household, who cares about character? Actually, they probably think being a virgin is your character. It's just so sad it's 2021 and we're still having this conversation about women being virgins. Anyway, that is it for this video. I don't really agree. I mean, granted, I think that what makes anyone great can apply to both men and women. There is no special way to make one sex great and not the other. So yeah, it should be no surprise that I disagree with this whole thing. But, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please feel free to share it if you think of any place that would enjoy watching it. It helps me, I'm still growing my channel, so any little bit helps. And on that note, please feel free to like and subscribe if you would care to do so. Also, please feel free to comment and let me know what you think of this thing. I wonder if they're going to hold a third one next year. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.